My name is Mark Walewski, and I'm Assistant Professor of Business Administration here at Tunxis Community College. Welcome to this panel discussion on the advanced manufacturing sector of the economy, particularly here in Connecticut. This event is sponsored by the Tunxis Business Administration Program, as well as the Tunxis Business Club and the Student Government Association. It's my pleasure to introduce the moderator of today's discussion, Max Mcintyre. Max is Vice President of New England Airfoil Products, and he's President of the Aerospace Component Manufacturers. Additionally, Max had a long career in U.S. Special Forces as a Green Beret, so we are in safe hands today. I'd like to thank... No heat. I'd like to thank President Lombella, President of our college, for being here today, and I will let Max introduce our corporate executive guests. Please welcome Max Mcintyre.
Before I talk about myself and let them talk about themselves, I'm a product of the class of 1980, which makes me 56 years old. Back in 1980, things were glorious, especially if you talk to somebody who came from the class of 1980. Things were great, and nothing will ever be the same. Nothing. If we fast forward now, things have changed. Back when I was in high school, we had these new things we called computers. They were Wang computers. Is that company even still around? No, I grew up in Thomas, right down Route 6, straight west from here. Okay? Wang computers were the big thing. And then went to college for a year, joined the Army, going to the Army, and they didn't have computers. And you talk about people about the military back then, and the military back then was so much better, so much greater, so much this, so much that. So we talk about education. Education back then was so great that kids today, the youngsters in this room and the young adults in this room and even people that are a little younger than me, the education today pales in comparison to the way it was. Isn't that true? Who said yes? Somebody said yes? No? Do you believe that? It's not the truth. It is not the truth. Business today is booming. Back in 1980, we were in the middle of a recession. Jobs were leaving Connecticut. Things were closed down. Everything stopped. Everything in this state stopped. Right? Education, we were learning math on what they call an abacus. Right? It's very low. We were chipping out, counting stones, counting fingers and toes. It's nothing compared to today. You think about the computers. This computer right here has, I don't know how many multiples of power of one Wang computer compared to back then. And the military today is not as great as it was back then. Really? It's smaller and it's more lethal. It is lethal, the military today. Education. The daughter, 2 sons. They went to high school in Connecticut. They're all very successful. One's an APRN nurse, one's a mechanical engineer at a competitor company to me, and the other one right now is a business freshman up at UConn. And they are getting an education that is just multiples again of what it was back when I was young. So when you hear all this negative stuff, and you hear people badmouth young people today, verbally kick them in the teeth. Disarm them. Disarm them with facts. Disarm them with facts. What about that? Today, in the world today, gross domestic product of this country and other countries in the world is through the roof. And it's not projected to slow down. It's not. We're going to be talking today with these gentlemen, and we're going to lay it out for you. Okay? The big things that we want to talk about today involve travel, power, and fuel, oil and gas. And the industries we work in make things, they make these magnificent machines that allow flight, not only around the world, but to other celestial bodies. Power industry. The demand keeps going up and up and up, and there's a bigger need for it, not just in this country, but in the rest of the world as it globalizes, as it becomes more prosperous. They need more. And then, of course, you need that fuel to run your high-speed cars. Unless you're driving a Tesla, that goes back to the electricity side, right? We still need more and more fuel and more efficient fuel. Okay? So, I want to go ahead and put up a slide This right here is from 2007 through 2017. The upscale of that. What that is a depiction of the amount of engines that are on firm order. These are just jet engines for large commercial aircraft. This slide does not show you the need for the military. It doesn't show you the need for helicopters. It doesn't show you the need for business jets, small business jets, and it doesn't show you the need for spares. Just new engines that are required. You look at that number, 26,000 engines. This is huge. It is huge. When I joined this organization, ACM, I joined in, Mike, what was it, Paul, this year?
Yeah.
What did I do?
That's a smart board. Don't touch it.
1980. So this was back then when I joined the organization, and this is what it is now. Back then, we needed this many resources, this many human resources, this much capital, and so forth. And today, it's through the roof. So when somebody starts talking about the economy and no jobs in this state, they're wrong again. They're wrong. We're going to prove that today. ACM itself is not a company, but it's like I said, it's an organization of people who are like-minded. Every one of those names represents a company from one person to hundreds of people. So there is a need out there. One thing I also want to draw your attention to on that video is, did anybody see anybody, in an old dirty factory pounding a sledgehammer onto a piece of metal trying to reform it? No, you saw these incredible machines that turn them into something else. In this industry, it's important to have good people across the board. Okay? Again, my name is Max Mcintyre, Vice President, right down around the corner at New England Airfoil Products, and I'm excited about this industry. I'm excited about being here in Connecticut at this time, and I'm excited that the local community colleges in the state are taking it very serious about finding the needed talent and needed skills going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and have the panelists introduce themselves, and we're going to start the conversation. Paul?
Hello all, I'm Paul Murphy. Max said he was the product of 1980. I won't tell you my class, it was well before that. But I will tell you a couple things. I got out of school and went to college, and naturally during the summer I had to go find a job somewhere. My father was the head of engineering at Colt Firearms, so naturally that's where I went. When I would come home, my mother would not let me in the house. I had to change outside in the backyard on my back steps and leave my clothes out there because they were stinky and oily. I could not bring my clothes in to do the laundry. I had to go down to the center of town and do it. That's the industry I grew up in back in the 70s. You saw that video there, slightly a little different. Things have changed. The problem why we try to get out is some of your parents, grandparents, and things like that have still that perception of what it used to be. It is so not that, We have changed dramatically. We used to hire people for their hands, because all they would do was do this all day. We don't hire people for their hands anymore. We hire them for their innovation. That's what we need. We want their teamwork, we want their innovator, because they change our business. Today, our businesses are so aligned to developing careers. I always tell people, if you want a job, I'll never ever hire you. If you want a career, you're the person I'm looking for. Because we're going to commit to you as you commit to us. We're going to keep you educated. Keep it ongoing. Because that's how our businesses are. We are growing dynamic businesses, and we need our people to be the same way too. So we're going to have a discussion later about how you can get engaged and all those things. But this is what we're trying to get the word out. Now, I have did that manufacturing, and I actually had a job at Colt Firearms running a machine there afterwards. And they had a training program way back when, which brought in people from all their divisions all over the country. And I just got very friendly with the instructor that ran that. When he kind of looked at me one day and said, "You got something on the ball. Why don't you do something, get your better education?" So he slapped me across the head. He helped me out, and he got me into his training school to be an instructor. And I was teaching people how to run a machine, how to read a blueprint, and doing those things. I also got accepted into a management program, which they put me through college. I got my engineering degree, so don't hold this against me, but I am a degree engineer. Came out of there, and then I went to work for a small aerospace company. And quick story, I was an engineering manager, I was a plant manager, I was a general manager. I ended up owning the business. I owned it for 21 years. I sold that business and went on to be president and CEO of other businesses. I actually retired in August as the president of Mallory Industries, not too far away from here. And since then, came back to the ACM, which I was a member with my company since 2000. So I've known them for their whole existence. And now I'm the executive director. And what we're trying to do is today there's a war on talent, and we're losing that war. We need to get all of these pipeline of the workforce developed through the school systems, and a lot of things they're doing at Nantucket and bringing over here to Tunxis to get that future workforce ready, because we need you. So if you have an interest and you're willing to work and work hard, there's a lot of companies out there that are looking for you. They will bring you on, they will develop you, they will pay your education, there are internships, there are scholarships. So I always say, go make it great and go get it.
Good afternoon, my name is Michael Polo. Thank you. Well, we like failures at retirement because them not leaving our industry really helps. So I always say, if you're going to retire, don't. We're having way too much.
It's actually my second retirement I came out of.
We like failures at retirement. So I started a small company in Manchester, Connecticut back 33 years ago. I was 6. Just kidding. And we've been growing ever since. And it's amazing. I graduated right around the same time that Max did from high school. I always like to say, can anyone guess? So I own a manufacturing company, engineering company. Can anyone guess what I went to school for? Anyone? I'm a licensed cosmetologist.
He does my work.
Yeah, my father owned a manufacturing company from the 70s, and I was actually doing hairdressing, and one of his buddies said, I need someone to do some part-time work, and so I got involved. I had gone through manufacturing all through high school and business classes, and I left the hairdressing and I went on my own career. So it's been I say that because the bridge that you think you are at sitting in those chairs is not the bridge that you're gonna find. It's all about networking and where life leads you. So don't get everything set in your mind that I want to be a banker or I want to be a insurance agent and all that. It's where life brings you. Because what you're going to find is many people go to school to do something, and then they go out there and they start doing it and they realize they don't like it. So getting internships, we have 6 interns and 4 apprenticeships at our business right now. We're looking to grow that because getting involved is really important. Early, not, don't go, if you're going to want to get into a profession, you want to serve tables, that's not the way to get into the profession. Really get in because you may not like it. And we are pretty passionate about what we do. It's part of our blood. So again, I started 33 years ago. My grandfather was my first employee. It was great. I loved it when we were 6. Fast forward, Max kind of gave you some numbers of 26,000. So 26,000 engines equates to 13,000 aircraft. We just came back from Boeing. Boeing is ramping up to do 56 a month. So in the Pratt world of those engines, Pratt Whitney is sold out for 7.5 years. They're maxed out. They're going to end up building an engine every 48 minutes by 2020, and we're a big part of their success in the supply chain. So that's kind of gives you a little breadth of where we are. My little company was very little up into 2014, and then we had some technology. I'd like to say we were lucky. My father says we were good, and we've grown. We're up to 135 people now. We just bought a building 3. We're going to be at about 220 people in Connecticut, and then we have a bunch of customers or suppliers as well within the ACM. You heard about the ACM. That we lean on very heavily because the more we grow, the more they grow. And so the message I would give to all of you is it's not just manufacturing, although we love manufacturing people. We're big into technology, so we're doing a lot of automation. And you think automation replaces jobs. Automation replaces needless variation. So if I'm doing the same thing every single day, little things make a big difference. We're automating that, but we've also hired 74 people in a year to be doing the thinking piece of our world. A lot of them are certificate people. As long as you show up, we can teach you how to do anything else, and we'll send you back to school and do all that as well. So don't think that by automating it, it's negative. It's a positive. There's a lot of good stuff. We just need all of you. I was hoping to get resumes from every one of you because our industry is looking at, I think, 8,000 people in the next 2.5 years we're going to need in Connecticut alone. That's a big number. And we're kind of freaking out because we're getting all this work. Now we have to find all of you guys and gals to be doing the work. Okay, that's the message. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, I want to start off by first thanking Mark for bringing this panel today. I also want to thank Max, Paul, and Mike for joining us today to have a discussion on manufacturing. It's something I'm truly passionate about. President is president of Tunxis Community College. Manufacturing is my background. I spent almost 2 decades in manufacturing myself in plastics industry, injection molding, flexible packaging, polymers, machining, and so forth. So I have a passion for it, and I agree with you. There's more than just jobs. There are careers available in manufacturing. So the call to action today really is to help us change the perception. Talk to family members, talk to friends, change the perception of manufacturing. It's not dirty, dark, and dank. It is robotics. It is touch screens. This morning I met President Ojakian, Speaker of the House here in the state over at OK Industries, and took a tour. And of their 300 workforce, they have 30 jobs available right now. Every day I hear from employers that have jobs available in manufacturing. And it's not just the production floor jobs. I'm here at Tunxis and I'm working with our academic dean, Dean Feast, to look at our business programs as well. Is there a component we can add on to our business program? So if you're an accountant or if you're in marketing, to give you some kind of inside track or inside sight into manufacturing. Because I know when I was filling my workforce in the front office and I was hiring my accountants and my bookkeepers and my marketers, those individuals who had knowledge of manufacturing, of supply chain, of inventory control, of FIFO and the whole piece, that helped them have an edge. They were hired first. So I think we can broaden manufacturing, not just the technical piece, but I'm very happy to say that we are bringing a full manufacturing lab to Tunxis. We're putting in 12 machines. We're going to have machining. We're putting a full electromechanical Mechatronics program out in our bid strip building. We're going to have that up and running by January. Our machining program is going to be up and running and quality inspection control we're going to have in there as well. We'll be up and running for September. And again, these are jobs. We have a 10-month certificate. Coming out of this NUNTUC right now, 95% plus job placement rate for individuals coming out of the 10-month program. And then we're finding employers that are paying the tuition reimbursement for students to then go on to the associate degree, transfer through our College of Technology, right into Central Connecticut State in the engineering pathway. We've seen pathway. So there's a lot of stuff to share about that, but I was very excited to have actual manufacturers come in and talk to our students, talk to our faculty and staff, talk about the opportunities that are available. I also want to just highlight real quickly, out there we did our College of Technology, a next generation manufacturing, which Tunxis has one. We're a national center, one of 7 in the entire United States, our regional center for next generation manufacturing. We did a study last year about the jobs available in Connecticut. This is available online. I have a couple copies here. I urge all of you maybe use it in the classroom as well, Mark, as we move forward, because this really talks about the jobs. And if you go through here, it talks about the 13,000 jobs that are available in manufacturing. The different things, everything from aerospace to medical device manufacturing to machining, so welding, fabrication. There are jobs available every day in the state of Connecticut. And these are not just jobs. They're $50,000, $60,000 a year jobs to start. They're full medical, they're dental packages. So again, we're setting people up for what I feel is to be self-sustaining, tax-paying citizens. Manufacturing is an avenue, and it's not dirty, dark, and dank. I can go on for another 20 minutes.
I know. I got to cut you off there. But you can see the passion. You see the passion in there. Paul talked about retiring, and I called him a quitter, and he came back to DCM. So we do have a lot of passion in this industry. Now, I'm a guy who came from the Army, Special Forces, jumping on airplanes. For some reason, I get a phone call the day I get out of uniform. Says, hey, I want to offer you a job. Doing what? Well, I'm not down there running a machine. I couldn't tell you how to run a machine. I push the green button. It's already a recipe for disaster. So, but he offered me a job, and I said, what does it pay? And he said, what do you want to make? And I gave him a number. I figured I'd lowballed it. I'm not making that up. I didn't know. I didn't know about this industry. I was living all over the world. Kid born in Germany, kid born in North Carolina, kid born out on Okinawa, Japan. So I didn't know anything. And I came into this industry and I met these guys as my tutors, as my mentors, as my guides to get me into this. Now, in the military, how this equates is, I'm on the ground launching bullets, doing our dirty work that we have to do for the country. To be quite frank, that's the easy part of it. That's easy. Getting you there, getting sustained, if we go backwards. The planning and the resources that have to be gathered, the equipment and things that have to be staged over here to get onto this aircraft to fly to that country in the dead of night, going in and do work. It's this back work that counts as well, that ties right back into what the president was talking about. It's not merely pushing a button on a machine. And you know how easy it is to take somebody from the Xbox generation, and because the brain's already digitized, right? It's already digitized. You know how easy it is to do this logically in their head with digits and numbers? It's simple. You get somebody like me in there, I'm fat fingering it, and I try to explain it this way. I'm very efficient. I'm an advanced master black belt, okay? I only need 2 fingers to type. Most people need 10. That's how efficient I am. So I try to stay away from those things. So it's the backside of this organization, these organizations, this career path that also needs people for placement. They need people with brains, people that can think. So Paul, can you expound on that aspect of this business?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of times people think of manufacturing, and we're pretty much based in aerospace, so I'm kind of focusing there, which is a little different. But when you look at aerospace manufacturing, everyone thinks about running a machine. There are so many more things to do than just run a machine. All the support that go around it, the finance, as the President talked about, purchasing, all right? Parts moving, there's shipping and receiving. Right. The network is just all out. There are career paths to take. So, these certificate programs that President Lombella was talking about are 10-month certificate programs. You would come into a company and probably make, somewhere of anywhere between $14 to $18 an hour. That's just a start. All right? I know in the businesses I've owned and run, my better machinists are making, $30 to $35 an hour. A lot of my support people are making a whole lot more. My engineers and programmers, they're over $100,000, and upwards to like 120 to 130. Those are careers. So we're willing to invest because it means so much for us. So many of the companies that you can hook up with, like I say, they will pay for your schooling. They'll give you an internship to give you some money to make while you're going to school, and then hire you at a good place, put you on a career path. So the opportunities are great. And we always look at what does it take to attract people, and then what does it take to retain them. So our benefit packages are set up such that your medical are some of the best in the state. So you can go to work for other industries. You're not going to get the medical benefits you're going to get with manufacturing companies. They're much, much better. The 401ks, most of the people always match those. So there are a lot of benefits that go to that hidden paycheck, and you have to realize some of those.
Okay. Well, Michael?
Obviously, I echo everything. I also want to add that we're doing some really cool stuff with technology for 2 reasons. One is because you can't find people. But 2, more importantly, is that we can hire entry-level people. By the way, when we hear minimum wage, I've never paid anyone minimum wage in our lives. It's kind of funny when the state is fighting, because if you did the minimum wage numbers, you'd never be able to survive on minimum wage. So we pay our people very well. Hopefully they stay for long periods of time. I think our longest one is, I'm the longest one, so I'm 33 years. But then right after me is 19 years, and most of our people, with the exception of this last surge of 74 people in the last 12, 13 months, have been between 12 and 19 years. So they make it a career. But technology is another really big advantage that we have. So Connecticut, as you probably have heard in the news, is not the cheapest place to do business. But our skilled workforce and our people make it a very attractive place to be. We in business get wooed all the time by other states. Trust me, other states. And the one thing that they don't have is they don't have us. And that's a big deal. We are some of our toughest critics at times, but add advancing technology to that, and it makes our lives very much more richer here in Connecticut.
So we talked about the manufacturing side of pushing buttons, making parts, making chips. Again, taking dirt out of the ground, turning it into some piece of cool metal that goes onto this cool piece of metal that can fly. Okay? And all the background jobs to that. Now, in those background jobs, business students, correct? Killer. We're talking about we need adult supervisors of money. We need adult supervisors of a resource. We need people who know how to manage these things. So you are the upcoming group that's going to be managing a lot of these things in this field. It's not just the manufacturing side, but again, the back work behind it. And Jim, can you go ahead and expound on that as well? On the back side of this.
On the backside, as far as you're talking the business component?
Yes.
Well, one of the things that has made the Exotic model, I feel, a success when we're modeling after Tunxis is being driven through advisory boards. So who better to tell us the skills that are needed and to bring the manufacturers to the table, have advisory boards and have us tell us what those other skills are, and also what are the technical skills on the floor. But again, the business program, having lived it, having hired everything from marketing, business majors, accountants, to have that insight to manufacturing, to understand the manufacturing supply chain, understand the flow process and everything, really puts you at an advantage to get in with a company that offers, as you hear, the benefits that are phenomenal in manufacturing.
And then there's one part that he also mentioned is the Mechatronics,
Yes.
the program. Okay, I had a wake-up call. A number of years ago, went down to South Carolina, look at opening another facility somewhere else, not leaving the state, spread. Went down there, and I got a chance to see what they did for their manufacturing schools. And they had these cornrows of beautiful machines, and they had a brand new metrology lab. They had additive manufacturing. They had a virtual reality lab where you could go in there, put a set of goggles on, and be inside of a turbine blade looking out of a cooling hole. You're inside of an engine component looking out of it. Coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. You know what I didn't see? I didn't see any students. Came back here and got more detailed and embedded in what they're doing up at Asnamtuck. And over the past few years, Asnamtuck was receiving machines that were broken down by other companies, and now they have a brand new state-of-the-art facility up there. I also have a chance to go to these other companies, or these other schools, Manchester, all right, good one, and then down to Naugatuck Valley. I haven't been to the other ones yet. And I was very excited because they have new, modern equipment. And I raised a question. Who's going to fix all of these things? Who knows how to do electronics, not just electricity, but electronics, mechanics, hydraulics, and pneumatics? It's not your typical sports car mechanic. This takes another special brain to be able to do this, because a lot of it is troubleshooting and how to get it done. So this industry also needs that, and because of the call for this, they started these programs, trying to convert young people who in high school tech courses want to work on cars. You know, you start describing them, okay, you're under the car, it's out there, and it's 10 degrees below zero. Now what are you thinking? Where you can be in a nice air-conditioned, clean, spotless facility, like Mike's, and you can go ahead and be working on a machine in beautiful conditions, right? So, with that, there's a couple other things. When we talk about this industry and the back need for not only machinists, mechatronics people, finance people, business, but most people that get in business development people, it's for one reason. They've got charisma, right? They can tell a complete story and they have charisma. We're looking for business development people. We're looking for entrepreneurs. We're looking for people who can pick the rock up and keep moving it forward into the future. Now, aerospace, industrial gas turbines, and oil and gas, and even ship engines, a good portion of those components are made in this state. And they somehow flow through this state for one reason. Connecticut's got 100 years of making mistakes. It's got 100 years of making mistakes. So these parts flow through this state because we figure it out. As the video showed, we can figure it out how to do it, how to do it efficiently so we can make money, so we can survive and move on to the future. Okay? I'd also like to recognize some other manufacturers in the room right now. Pete Marabelli from Metalforming Technologies, right down the road in Bristol. and Karen and Tim Backus from Harcon in West Hartford. Okay. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and open up for discussion and questions.
What has ACM done with respect to discussing your needs with the government, in particular the governor of the state of Connecticut, maybe emphasizing the need to double down on the investment in higher education to give us the capital that we need to grow and expand our program to train people to work in your industry?
Go ahead.
Well, I think I want to say two quick things on that. So the governor and DECD gave us enough funding to do what we had to do. So as far as the state goes, manufacturing is a really important thing to them. And so what we've done in our ACM member companies, we're 120 of them now, 120 of them, is we're kind of taking it in a different route. When we were brought up in this industry, Pratt Whitney had a apprenticeship program and you go there. And the state of Connecticut has an apprenticeship program as well. Well, us companies are now taking it where we're building those programs within our organizations, where you try out all the different areas. As far as schooling goes, it's a lot better than it was, but it's nowhere near where it needs to be. If you look at how many people are retiring in the next 3 years and how many people are coming through these programs, there's a crash coming, and so we're trying to do all we can to get as many people through our shops for that program. The other thing that we have in the state of Connecticut is you have a lot of people in our legislature who are not business people. A lot of them are lawyers, retired teachers, and very valid careers, obviously, but so you have to educate them on the multiplication factor of manufacturing. For every one manufacturing job, there's 4 other jobs that because we eat places, we bring our laundry places, it's all that. And you can't just be a service state, you've got to be making stuff. The good news is a lot of stuff is coming back from overseas. We're finding we do a lot of international exporting, and a lot of that stuff's coming back. We're growing like crazy because what was is not now, and so that's really helping us as well.
So in the business side, according to the newsletter that just came out, last year we had an $87 billion trades deficit in aerospace, where we're shipping $87 billion more to the rest of the world. That's big. As far as the state side goes, they have what's called the Manufacturers Innovation Fund. And from their dollars are dished out to Department of the DECD and Department of Labor. And they actually provide a lot of these funds for training people at Michael's shop, at my shop, and at Mallory at the time, and all the other shops that are in this organization. The incumbent worker training dollars that we can spend from the state are provided. We put our people through these courses, okay? And the company pays half. Well, actually, the company pays the full and gets reimbursed for half. But on the flip side of that, through the Department of Labor, you have what are called apprenticeship dollars. Apprenticeship dollars are dollars I don't even have to touch. I've actually had Manchester Community College teach my people courses at Tunxis, and I don't touch it. So we're training them on things like blueprint reading, math, blueprint reading, GD&T, metrology courses, OSHA, safety. Okay? And other people in here also have used these programs, and we continue to use these programs to give us that boost. And why does the state spend these dollars in grants and in loans? It's so that, not so we can buy new machines, but every new machine we buy, we have to put people on there to run the machine for 3 shifts, 7 days a week. The backup staff that has to support this operation, okay? So that's why they do that, and it is money well spent. But if you ever say, are they doing enough? I'm always going to say, nobody's ever doing enough. It's just me, right? Paul?
Yeah, I need to add this, because this is what keeps drawing me back into this industry. For years, us manufacturers, we just sat around and bitched about everything. That's all we were. We were just whiners and we were complainers. And nothing ever got done. Now we're getting a more uniform voice. To Jim's point, I can remember way back when in 1999, I think it was, we went to Tunxis to have them set up some classes for us. I know how to teach that. I know you do. But you're going to teach it the way we want you to teach it. So we sit on advisory boards. We do a lot of things. So now the businesses have gotten together through ACM with our membership of over 9,800 employees, and about $3.1 billion in sales collectively. We're a pretty big voice these days. We are a nonprofit, so we can't get a lobbyist or anything like that. But I do work, and we all work with other agencies to give them our concern, because too many times, and any other people don't take offense that it might be here, I see these state agencies come up and say, we're going to get you all these training dollars for this, and we're going, we don't need that. And they just waste the money. Now we're getting our point across. This is what we need. This is how you need to help us. And our biggest thing right now is getting the perception out there. We're alive and well. We have promising careers. Changing it from the guidance counselors and the teachers to understand what success really is. And it's not that four-year degree with $140,000 in debt and a $40,000 job. That to me is not success. There are other paths for success. So as it's been proven through the state, why they're investing so much money in the manufacturing these days and allowing us these grants, is that every job we creates 4 other support jobs outside of manufacturing. The people who bring us our oils, our paper goods, so that's a huge payback out of return of dollar. So things are changing. I mean, I just started with the ACM 13 days ago. Okay, I've been involved with them for many years, but officially 13. I know I'm going to retire again. But I'm bringing up to a board meeting tomorrow some new initiatives I want to do. And I've had the Department of Labor and we got some things going. So I think we're going to do a whole lot more. So, but what we need to find out is everything happening correctly? We're going to Howell GD Tech, Karen, right? The 12th, to see what they're doing with their high schools, making sure they're preparing them, and we're giving them the feedback to, yeah, you're hitting the mark, or we got to change gear. Because everything's so dynamic today. Businesses change, they grow, so we're going to keep pushing.
Yes.
Can I just add
Absolutely.
something that Mike was touched upon? I think from being in the audience here, one thing to look at is there's a lot of industries out there, right? There's finance, and there's real estate, there's banking, there's insurance, a lot of very mature industries. There's a tremendous opportunity for a young person getting into manufacturing because what Mike touched on, when everything went offshore, it kind of created a gap. So most of the people you see are in their 50s or they're going to be in their 20s and 30s. Very seldom does that happen. So you can step in, you can get a lot of support from what we call the elders who need for you to be successful. You bring a lot of tools that are going to help us collectively, Tim, everybody up here, be successful. You can bring that to bear. But understand, when you decide what career you're going to go on, very seldom can you move into a position probably a lot sooner than you normally would.
That's a great point.
Really good opportunity. Personally, I started as an engineer at Pratt, some R&D stuff. They shipped me over to Toulouse, France. I mean, I've had the places you can go and the things you can see and do are tremendous, right, on a global scale. You get to work on incredible state-of-the-art technology, but the opportunities there. So hopefully I said it right. If I didn't, please finish that off. But there's a void there. Somebody needs to step into it, and we all collectively need you to be successful. And I can tell you, Tim and I know we don't spend a lot of time talking, but there's so much work out there, right? We root for the others. There's not like we're all fighting for some room at the trough. That demand that they put up there, there's plenty of room. It's not it's more of a camaraderie here. So, but I think that point, the opportunity, I think Mike touched upon. I just wanted to.
So I'm going to pick up what you just threw out there, and it was good. Thanks. I started doing this when I was 46 years old. I just jumped in at 46 years old. So it's not just for the next generation. It's for people that are like-minded, motivated, can think this way, out of the box, and really, really dig your teeth into this industry. Because it is exciting. It is exciting when you're sitting there again, taking dirt and watching it fly. It's literally what you're doing. And all the steps in between. Any other questions?
Max, I have one question for the audience.
Sure.
Because I want to hear from the students in the room. How many of you had either a guidance counselor or parents that suggest when you were doing career exploration, was manufacturing brought up as a possibility for you? By show of hands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are a few that 3 years ago, I can tell you there may not have been one hand raised in the room. So we are slowly changing that perception.
3 years from now, everyone's here.
It's true. It's the guidance counselors and getting the perception out there to parents and educating on what manufacturing is about. And again, it's high tech. There's opportunities there.
We can go ahead and just put people on the flame under them too and start asking some questions. Yes.
Cool question. Where would someone find a company that's attached to ACM?
There's a website here, and it has every company that's in
You
the
go up on
ACM.
member profiles,
Yeah, they'll give you a map.
it'll show you all the companies, what they do, all their contact information. We're going to be looking to put new links on this going forward, which will put you right into job boards.
Yep.
And I'd like to get on that website where we also have the connections page, where we can connect you with people. You know, but I think a lot of it is if you're in these courses through your schools, we need to do a better job. I think we're doing a good job, but a better job getting those associations. So right now, a lot of your people are already hooked up with companies.
They go through the apprenticeship model, the internship model, so we do connect them. And many of our students have jobs, they're offered jobs before they complete the program. So it's a great way to learn about the employer and the employer learn about you as well.
Okay, I had.
Oh, wait, I have one more question. Couple more seconds.
Are there any manufacturing companies in Connecticut that aren't part of the ACM?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a very small, so 120, there's probably 4,000 manufacturing companies. So yeah.
We're centered mostly right in this geographical area. There's another organization like the ACM down the southern part of the state. There's one in the eastern part of the state. We are the biggest. And matter of fact, I think it was back in 2004 or 2005, there was a guy out of Washington, D.C., who the government funded him to go out and check all these clusters out to say, we're putting all these federal dollars in, what are we getting for a benefit with these clusters? And the ACM ended up being the poster child through the country. You know, we've grown from 6 to, well, actually it's 114, you know?
And also to kind of answer your question, as Untitled and Tunxis are partnered with ACM, we're also partnered with NESMA, which is New England Spring Manufacturer Association. There's Beacon, there's medical device manufacturing. So all of the industry segments we are partnered with. So it is not just aerospace.
And like I say, if any of you need to, we can leave some cards here. If you want to come to our facility, go look at the facility, I will personally help you out do that. I strongly suggest bring a parent because it definitely wows them. You know?
That's not said to make it, like you can't go on your own. You know, we don't have student problems in this country. We have parent problems in this country. We have parent problems.
They think everyone wants to go to college, and I say, not everyone's college bound. I wasn't, but everyone is career bound. So you have to change that mentality.
Can you take it back one slide? Okay, to answer one of the questions over here, just a minute, Paul. Let's take care of this one right here first. The how do you find it? You go to the ACM aerospacecomponents.org. You go to member profiles and you click it, and it lists all the companies in the ACM. And if you click on one of those, it pulls you up on a page that tells you about the company and their website, their location, their addresses.
There were also career paths on there. You can click on one of the drop down, you can look at career paths. It kind of shows you transitional ways to get into the industry, what your wages would be like. And, you know, we're going to be updating some of this stuff too. So that website holds a lot of information for you.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry, I was okay, it's really long, but bear with me. Two-part question, connected intrinsically and somewhat specifically. What are some nonprofit organizations or general corporate social responsibility aspects supported by ACM?
The Epilepsy Foundation here in the state. Also with us, also the Connecticut Children's Hospital.
Yeah, we focused last year because the winter was so harsh. We had a coat drive, and we went to some major homeless shelters and literally closed people. And we found in one of the homeless shelters there were 9 kids under the age of 10 living there. And we set up Christmas bags and goodie bags, and we go there from time to time and serve meals. So, you know, it's kind of what we've been focused on lately. And that was really brought to us by one of our employees who drives around and goes into the bush and throws blankets out the door. We kind of got behind it. So, you know, it's a big part of what we do. You have to get back to the community. So those are just a couple of examples.
Yeah, I know we used to have every year we would put aside budgetary-wise, so for my company, it was $25,000. We would say there's $25,000 we're going to donate to charity every year. And I'm not going to decide who it goes to. The employees decided. So they would pick a cause, and we would do whatever they picked. And that's where our monies went.
I think that's just, I bring that up because I think, I'm not saying previous generations have not. I'm thinking more along like our generation, like that's more of a, maybe like why someone chooses. Yes, there's the selfish, like benefit package, but like, okay, what's the bigger picture? That's why I asked that. And then the second question, there are certifications for young adults to recruit them into a career. That is ACM raising awareness amongst the youth in public and private schools. And maybe recruiting individuals in unexpected places, for example, homeless shelters, because their circumstances are usually connected to a housing crisis or a lack of direction educationally. So it's not always addiction. In fact, according to a panel we have for the homeless, it's more of, I can't afford my housing, I got booted out, now I don't have a job because I can't go to work. You know, living in the farms. So I'm just saying, like, looking in unexpected places, maybe that's what talent is not present to you here.
Got an unexpected place here right behind you.
Yep.
Karen.
As a matter of fact, we reach out to lots of organizations. We give internally, we let our employees drive that. We're firm believers in, you know, I hate to say the word, but nepotism. If somebody in the family needs a job, okay, we can try to find them one. You get bargain with that because the transportation is the same, the hours are the same, so we look to help our employees and their family members. We work with the Job Corps, we work with the prison system and correction system. We have drug and alcohol testing, so we can also work on, you know, helping people get back into, it's very widespread on top of the reach that they want us to do with veterans, with disabled. Yep, there's metrics that we're supposed to, we can try, but then we need to expand on that within our own community as well.
I'd like to highlight one more of the things that companies give to. We have a member company called TimeEd. TimeEd specializes in titanium and metals. And every year they have a banquet. They have it's a banquet. And companies like us go, a lot of other companies in the public go, and they take donations, and we have big raffles. And those raffles and those dollars actually go to an orphanage for young men. So you have boys that are 12 to 16, 17 years old who don't have anything. Who's going to adopt somebody that's 14, 15, 16 years old? No. So we collect this money for those organizations. Time it does. So we have 114 companies. We probably have 114 different charities, organizations that are assisting. Okay. So
there are many federal programs out there that subsidize dollars. You could talk to this. I don't know if there's one at the college you're doing right now, right?
As far as the second chance Pell grant.
Yeah.
So right now we have 300 individuals enrolled for Pell in 5 different correctional facilities. As Untitled, we actually bus in 12 inmates who are ready to go into halfway houses. We're giving them the education as well too. And then when they actually graduate, we have 6 of the 12 right now. They graduated. They now have the U-Pass, so they can get from the halfway house back to the Untitled train. So the social corporate mission, the educational social mission, is something that I see every day in manufacturing. They support us in education with that too. But lining up individuals with second chances and companies that have stepped forward willing to give individuals a second chance that may have a background or made a mistake in younger years. I think we've had great success with that so far. And ACM's been big support of that.
There's the Working Cities grants, or I know I'm involved with one of these, Hartford, where they got a grant where they're trying to take the Silver Lane neighborhood and raise up the median income for their community. And manufacturers have gotten involved, and we're bringing them around to tour facilities, getting the exposure. We're working with their high schools, getting their programs in. So we're involved all because we need it, so we get involved.
One thing I wanted to mention too is the ACM has a trade show every year. This year it's November 7th. We're at the convention center. We bring in 1,000 kids, 1,000 students in the morning. So there's buses. The companies actually pay for the buses to get the students to and from the trade show. So the whole morning session is just workforce development. And it's just you going around talking to all the different companies and all of that. And then we have the afternoon and evening is all about industry. So we invite, there's OEMs. When we say OEM, original equipment manufacturers, so the Pratt Whitneys of the world, the Boeings, the Airbus, those are OEMs. They make the product, and we make the product that goes into it. So we invite a lot of them as well. So that's another really big segue into what we do and all the different companies that are doing it.
We're a great networking opportunity.
Well, I think last year we had 42.
Bring your resumes, exactly.
Right, 42 schools and 6 community colleges, I believe, were at
Correct.
Upon earning an associate's degree, what's the first best thing that a student could do to get into this industry?
Knock on a door.
I just say apply. Go on the website and apply.
Make a phone call.
I tell my HR people, if you have, you always build a profile, and the profile never walks through your door. This never happens. But I said, if someone walks through who really seems to be good, don't let them leave without an offer, because they're going to get an offer someplace else. So, when you have the initiative and you have the drive and you have the want, we have the career. Come find us. We're out there. We're waiting for you.
But a lot of it also is the stuff that you don't see. So the way you are, the way you think, the way you present yourself, the way, if like, I have one guy that's been with us now for 14 years who was walking in for a different role, and the quality manager at the time didn't see it in him. I said, oh no, we're hiring this guy, because this guy is going to be good. He started out in engineering, he's now working he's our estimator. And it's so funny, because when you do this enough, you get to see who, as well as who not, because there's careers are very interesting. You may want to do something, and you may, and then there's just some skill sets that are very difficult. A lot of our stuff is eye-hand coordination, so if you fix cars and all that stuff, it's really good type of stuff, but there are also people that are challenged. We're doing a lot with the autistic community as well, because they're very detailed. They do great work, and we're bringing a lot of them into our and I'll tell you, it works twofold, because all the associates that are working with them, we work with Special Olympics, autism, and JA. Those are our 3 big ones. And ironically, we get more than we ever give, but you really get a lot of really good people and a lot of really good energy that come out of those associations.
So if I give you one quick tip, what I always look for when I talk to someone coming in, I got to see in their eyes that they really want it. If they want a job, go to my competitor. Maybe he'll hire you. If you want a career, you come to me. Because if you got that little twinkle and you really want to learn, there's a lot of businesses that are going to take you and run with you. They're gonna...
So maybe that's another thing that we should say. The generations of today everyone gets a trophy, and in the real world, everyone doesn't get a trophy. And that's a big message, We're very close to UConn Huskies and Gino Oriema, and Gino says it all the time. It's all about recruiting, and it's all about culture. And so you got to really want it. But I'm telling you, I hire people from the window at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, because if they got it, I want them in my company. And so that's the interesting piece. When we first started into workforce development at the ACM level, we noticed that the Aetnas, the Travelers, the Farmington Banks, they were already in. And so they were getting all the best of the best. And we're like, no, we want the best of the best. So it took us probably about 18 months to 2 years to really get embedded. But now we want those people in our industry. And it changed, 6-7 years ago when we did that. That's also a really big piece of this, is we took it upon ourselves to start going out and recruiting, type of stuff.
And the best of the best. Yeah. What determines whether something flies or falls is the thickness of a hair. You can't have just anybody making these things. You can't have anybody just doing this. They have to actually have a passion for it, the drive for it, not only making them, engineering, paying for them, resourcing the material for them, inspect everything. It's across the board. It's across the whole the whole business cycle, the whole business process. This is about the whole thing.
It's some of the great things. We used to have pilots come to our business and talk to our employees, and I think it meant so much, and they really understood what they did, because they said, listen, you get me up in the air, but you got to get me down too, because when it fails, it's a bad ride down. You know. We work on very important
let's
stuff.
talk that. So the FAA, I was just at a seminar, and the FAA said if you flew every day, it would take you 75 years to pick a flight that's going to crash and a 50% chance of surviving that crash. Our industry, I want you to think of this, you have more chance of getting hit by lightning twice on the way to the airport than you do in crashing a plane. And that's a testament to, of course, the OEMs and doing all the research, but also what we do. Because when you're at 30,000 feet, you can't pull over, you can't put your blinker on and say, I want to fix something. It's got to be right every single time. So the caliber of people we're looking for is kind of important. I know sometimes people get scared of that, but once you understand what your role is in that, it almost becomes like a fire where you build on it and it grows with you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Before we do, I want to leave some images in your head, okay? We talked about 1980 and before that. We talked about where the country was, where business was, where education was. And we look at it today, and it is different. I talked about those people that say that the education that you have received it's not a good education. Nonsense. We talked about the things that you do today are not worthwhile. Oh, they absolutely are. We talked about robotics. We talked about automation and how it's replacing people. It's not. It's taking variation out of process. Trust me, there are other jobs that still need to be done. We talked about the amount of business that has to cycle through this state. Because if it doesn't cycle through here, it can't cycle through anywhere else. It's got to come through here. And this country, this state, right now, in this industry, needs people like you. The future business owners, business runners, business champions. We need this now. We do. I want you to go out there and ignite other people in this and let them know and spread the word from here, out on the campus, back at home, to your little brothers and sisters, to your older brothers and sisters, and to your parents. That this state is on an upward swing, contrary to what other people are saying. It's a great time to be in manufacturing, it's a great time to be in aerospace, and it's a fantastic time to be in Connecticut.
We have a very difficult time with the media not telling the story. I mean, they're starting to a little bit, but they're the kings of doom and gloom, and we're not doom and gloom. Drives me crazy.
I want to encourage everybody to socialize by the food table. We have a great spread over there. And I want to thank our panelists, President Lombella, Michael Polo, Paul Murphy, and Max
coming and listening to us, but what the hell's the guy doing with Wonder Bread?
Yeah.
What's up with it?
I thought that was the light lunch.
Do you want to put that on the food table, Paul?
No, I want to remember we told you about dark, dank, and dirty and all that stuff, and we showed you the video? Literally in my company, when I said, I want to be spotless, they said, well, I don't know what your good looks like. I said, you don't? I went out and bought a loaf of Wonder Bread, and I came back and said, I want you to take a piece of bread, and if you can wipe it around the walls, the floor, and the machine, I want you to be able to eat it. That's how clean we want our businesses to be. So I always do the Wonder test.
Very nice. We've adopted that in